1079 CDY. This is Cadillac Unscripted. It's a half hour of local chat every Saturday morning at 8:30, and it's sponsored by Independent Bank. My co-host is Katy Huckle, and this is an exciting time in Cadillac because for the first time in 18 months, Katy, we're going to have live theater.
Oh, we are, and everybody is so ready for this. It's like this pent-up demand. In the studio, we have a lot of horsepower. Okay, Rich, you know what I'm talking about? Talent.
Yes.
Talent.
Yes.
The name of the show is Love, Loss, and What I Wore. And our director, Kelli Simons, is with us this morning. And Kelli, tell us about what's going on. We're so excited.
Oh, we are so excited, too. Our first show back in 18 months. We have a beautiful cast of 12 women.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. New faces that you've seen in Footlighters before. It's just really exciting. These are women telling stories about life based on their memories of clothing that they've had.
Okay.
So yes, it's small little anecdotes just about they literally. I've been watching it for weeks, months now, and I'm still getting chills and goosebumps, and
Right.
I'm laughing and I'm crying a little. It just covers the whole gamut of life. It's really a wonderful show. It's written by, based on a book written by a woman named Eileen Beckerman, and who's drawn some just lovely pictures of dresses and clothes she remembers growing up. And then Nora and Delia Ephron, sisters, took it and made it into a play. They wrote the script for it. So.
Well, the Footlighters have been dearly, dearly missed. And I have to tell you, as director, you got to hear this, the business side of this. I go down to get my tickets, and I'm just so excited to go walking into Brinks and to talk to Greg. And I forgot my money. So, see, I've got to go back and get my money. And you know what? He looks at me and he goes, these are so hot right now that I'm holding them out of the ticket count until you come back. How soon? I mean, I'm like, are we in Manhattan? I love it. Like, you guys are going to sell out. You know what I mean? I said, don't you sell those tickets to somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
So how did you pick the show?
Well, our place selection chooses.
Okay.
When we chose this show, we really did not know how many people we could have in a room, how far apart people needed to sit,
Right.
where we could have the show. Was the high school available? What was available? So this show does not require scene changes or costume changes or things like that. It's kind of a simply designed show, and that was really a lot of our thoughts. As it turns out, we're able to have a full room of people, which we're very thankful for, but we did choose it both because we loved the script, it's well written, but also because it's very flexible. We could take it anywhere.
Right. So, during COVID, we went from, people would joke about, I went from my day pajamas to my night pajamas. One of the things I think we as women have really missed, correct me if I'm wrong, is dressing up. And what are you going to wear? And so I think people are probably going to be very dressed up at your venue. I just have to say, guys,
Yes,
there's been a drought, if you will, for
Absolutely.
people that,
Yes.
ladies, we like to get dressed up and put on, right, Rich?
So, maybe. I've got to say I'm the only guy in the room here. So
Okay.
So how did you come to the conclusion that Raven Social was where this was all going to happen?
So we wanted a little bit more of an intimate space for this because it is kind of just telling stories. We wanted the audience to be able to see the eyes and the facial expressions of each actress as they told their stories. So we knew we wanted it to be a small space. So we were, just kind of brainstorming, and we were actually at the Raven and we were thinking, I wonder if this would work. And we knew that they hadn't had the upstairs set up yet for dining. So we talked to them there, and they were so excited to be able to partner with us in this. They've been very gracious, wonderful hosts so far. We're just thrilled.
What a wonderful venue. Can you tell us about how many nights the show will be featured? I know you've got a matinee in there. I know you've got a fundraiser for Oasis in there. Can you walk us through that?
Yes, absolutely. So on Thursday, July 15th, we have a fundraiser that we're partnering with Oasis. It's a higher ticketed event, but we have heavy appetizers and tables to sit, and there's fewer tickets available. As a matter of fact, we're very, very limited in the tickets for that at this point. And then we open to the general public on Friday, the 16th, at 7 p.m. And we will also have a show on the 17th at 7 p.m. Then we'll jump to the next weekend Friday the 23rd, we have a 7 p.m. show. And Saturday, we have a 2 p.m. show, and that will be our handicap accessible show. We're going to move it downstairs at Raven.
Awesome.
And then at 7 o'clock, we'll be back upstairs. 7 o'clock on the 24th, back upstairs at Raven.
Is the cast ready?
We are ready. They have impressed me so much at how well they have their lines down. We're excited. We're moving into the Raven Sunday to do our first run-throughs there. But yes.
Did you know you were going to cast 12 women when you were auditioning?
No, that's a good question. Because
How did it happen?
It's generally performed by 5 to 7 women, and we had auditions, and we were just looking around. We had the names, and we were remembering what each woman did, and everybody brought something unique and important to auditions, and we knew that each one had something to offer for the show. And because it is expandable, it's flexible, we thought, why not just let all these women tell a story? And so we cast 12. Yeah.
You're giving me the chill, so I know we're going to laugh, but are we going to cry?
Yes.
Ooh.
I still do. Like I still get tears in my eyes. There's some really there's some sad moments, but there's some really touching moments too that I think any person is going to be able to relate to some of these excitements, challenges, sadnesses, all those things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to leave there going, wow, I just know it. I can feel it already. So let's talk about two of your wingmen that are here today. I chuckle because we had Joe Bauman and Sally Goggin on the show, a couple months ago. And with, again, this pent-up excitement, all right, for what's coming. And I said to Sally, are you just getting started or are you just phasing out? Or what? She goes, I see myself playing, mail carriers and the housekeeper. And here, Sally's with us. Tell us about your role in the show, Sal.
I play a character named Gingy, and Gingy is Eileen Beckerman, who wrote the show, who wrote the original book. Gingy is her nickname, and everybody called her Gingy. And so basically, anything that I am doing is pretty much the story that you'll find in the book. There is a lot of additions because everyone knows Nora Ephron of Sleepless in Seattle fame, who was one of the writers of the play, brings a lot of humor to the script. And so some of these things are just ridiculously funny. And she's taken even my character of Gingy and added some very funny dialogue into it and interesting things about Gingy's life that she's kind of maybe stretched out a little bit fiction into it, but it's delightful. It's just a delightful character. I connect to her so much. Gingy's mother made most of her clothes while she was growing up. My mother made all of my clothes growing up, except things like sweaters and pajamas. And even my wedding gown and all my bridesmaids' dresses and all my prom dresses. And so I just identify with this character so much. I remember events so clearly because of what I was wearing, or remember what I was wearing because of events.
So, Rich, this is one well-dressed woman, okay? And so it's very humorous to me because Sally recently retired, and I said, what are you going to do with all of your clothes?
That's a very good point.
They have to come out in seasons. I'm not lying, I tell you. And so it's how funny that as you're deciding what to do with an expansive wardrobe, you're starring in a show that has to do with what you wore. I mean, there's just so many parallels.
It's true. And the ending is somewhat similar to what I'm going through right now. So I
want to talk about being a director and being directed. You've directed Kelli. You've performed with Kelli. They sing a song about two women that get along, but they kind of got to give each other just a little poke, poke, poke. Very well together. How's it going? Is it hard sometimes to remember you're being directed?
It's not. I mean, I think both Kelli and I trust each other so much. We've gotten to know each other well, performing together, and so anything that she offers, I just say, yes, okay, yep, we're going to do that. And I am admiring how she's directing the cast, too. So it's
All
great
right, you're
fun.
watching her mad skills with the
Yeah.
other ladies.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I like it. Also in the studio, we have Amy Peltier, and she is known for a lot of things, mostly incredible talent that seems to have no ending. She writes these amazing scripts for our murder mystery, for community theater. She's been published, superstar lady. What is your role in this show, Amy?
I'm the assistant director.
Okay.
So this is my first time ever directing anything. Sally has asked me to direct or to help her direct the murder mysteries before, and I've immediately said absolutely not. I just couldn't really imagine directing my own words, I guess, and I don't know why that is. I just thought, no, that's not for me. But then when Kelli asked, I think partly because of the pandemic, you're so excited to have anything to do with theater again, and it was so exciting. And I wanted to work with Kelli, of course, because I know she's so talented. And I thought, well, this is a great way to learn. And I thought, well, if all else fails, maybe it will teach me something about playwriting. You can't go wrong directing a play by Nora Ephron, of course, who's just this legend out there. So it was exciting to know that it was one of her plays that we were doing.
Okay. I think most people would say you know a lot about playwriting, actually. But tell me how it works in terms of your partnership with Kelli. Do you watch rehearsals together with can you describe that as you're developing characters and you're trying to take it to the next level? What are those conversations like?
She usually weighs in first, and then she asks if I have anything to add to it. I mostly come at it from the writing perspective. I always run through everything in my head when I'm writing myself, of course, and I actually do a one-woman show that I'm sure that nobody gets to see, where I say everything, the entire play, just as to how it's delivered. So I do, of course, try to have an ear for that and how the dialogue is going to sound. And so we just might go back and say, could you try it maybe? And you're missing the joke here. Or could you try to punch this line a little harder or slow down because we're losing the joke, and that sort of thing.
Well, and again, I'm getting the chills because in one of your plays, the line was, when mayhem broke out in Michigan because of the roundabouts. Okay. And I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like this. Okay. And we'd run it a million times. I knew what the line was, but the crowd went nuts. And then I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that don't like roundabouts, but I didn't even understand the joke. Well, it's because people, do you understand? And so when you say, or once you had a line and it was something, Kelli and I were fighting, and it was something like, well, I was at Ohio State. Which Ohio State? Well, the Ohio State Reform School for Wayward Girls. And Dan Alto says, well, it's the same thing. I don't understand some of the humor, but if you're a Michigan resident,
right,
you know all about Ohio State, or if you were born and raised in Michigan, I should say. And so when you tell me that, now I understand why you have to read all those lines to yourself.
Yes.
Because then you're looking and going, oh no, she completely missed it. In a nicer, you're too nice. You would never say that, but you would say, let's maybe put a little more pepper on that.
Right.
What does Brandon say about all this stuff that you get involved in?
He was very excited that I agreed to do the assistant directing job on this. He right away, he said, oh, I think you definitely should do that.
Are you enjoying it?
Yes, I definitely am. It's been just an amazing behind the scenes. You don't think about all of the work that goes into these shows behind the scenes, but these women have been getting together for weeks, and of course working on their own to memorize their lines, and just to see that has been amazing. And it's been so fun to see these 12 women come together. I think you kind of reach a certain age where you're always around your own age. I have 4 kids, and they're between 12 and 21, so I see people that age, and I'm 48, so most of my friends are 48 and up, and you kind of forget there's this whole other lost generation in there, and we have these fantastic women who are all like between 28 and 45, and it's like, wow, it's so cool to get to hang out with this generation of women who I would otherwise personally never really get to hang out with.
Oh my
so it's been
goodness.
so interesting just to hang out with these different people, and the age of the cast goes up into the 70s and down into who is our youngest? Maybe 24? Is she?
I think Kayla's 27.
Yes. So it's just so wonderful to see this huge range of women bringing these roles to life. It's been really interesting.
Okay, we're going to go to break, and we're going to be back with more of the Cadillac Footlighters right after this.
It's Cadillac Unscripted, sponsored by Independent Bank on 107.9 CDY. It's Cadillac Unscripted, part 2 for this July edition, and we've got the Cadillac Footlighters in the spotlight. And Katy Huckle, it's very, very exciting to be able to have live theater in Cadillac again. From the people who enjoy it, from the people who go to theater perspective, but imagine what it's been like for folks who haven't been able to do it for 18 months.
Oh, I'm telling you, they need to get it out, Rich. They need to get out on the stage and go for it. And you know, Greg, who owns Brinks, was saying to me how much he respects the extra work that goes into where the venue is going to be. This isn't some place that's got like dressing rooms and things like that. They're modifying the venue, and it's going to make it even more special. There's some creativity that's being plugged in here.
Well, and I think they have to be praised because, you know, I mean, they're giving up a regular business night for several nights.
That's right.
To do this.
Right.
So hats off to Raven Social for doing this.
That's right. And you know what happens? See, the word gets out. This is why opening night and all that is so popular and starts selling out. Then the word gets out about how good they are, and then the whole thing sells out, which is great because, you know, we want the Footlighters to make some money on this too so that they've got momentum for future shows. And the Footlighters is doing great. But I want to ask both Amy and Sally, when we leave there, if you're guessing, and I know you can't give us any detail, what will we say was our favorite part of the show?
The interesting thing is I think that will be different for everybody. And
Okay.
that's what's so amazing
I
about
agree.
the script. It's, there's so many different little vignettes in it that surround Gingy's main story
Okay.
that it's hard not to want to stand up and say, oh, I also had a paper dress, and here's my paper dress story. You know, we all have those things.
There's a monologue about high-heeled shoes.
Okay.
There's a monologue about buying your first bra. There is a very long monologue about purses. And women all know how a purse is a good and bad thing, and they are hysterically funny. Each one of those is very, very funny. And then there are the touching ones where a woman talks about her mother dying when she was 13 years old and how that affected her and closed the rest of her life. And so each story is so specific to that character, but also, as my character Gingy says, it was personal to other people too.
I see. Will men enjoy the show, Amy?
I think they definitely will, and I think Brandon has read it, and he's really been touched by specific parts of it. I think anybody would enjoy the show, and there are some certainly adult topics, and there's a little bit of language in there. So I don't know about bringing younger kids to it. Certainly, I think it's more of an adult show.
Thank you for that. I think that's something everybody needs to hear.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, I think that anybody would find a lot to enjoy about the show, and I think it would give men, a little peek into the brains of their significant others for sure.
That's
so
true.
I mean, Rich to men.
Women are a mystery to
we
men.
are a mystery. Yes.
So this might actually help.
But Rich, do men get can you imagine how much time goes into the shoes and the clothes and I think.
As you guys were talking about this, my thought was, what would a production look like if this were all men?
Hey,
It wouldn't be what I wore. It would be what I shot.
what I
caught. Yeah.
what I drove,
Yes. That's good.
what I was listening to,
Music.
music
Yes.
and cars seem to be more memorable to men.
Okay.
Thinking hunting, fishing, you're exactly
Amy,
right.
we'll maybe you can do an original based on this, but from the men's perspective.
Hey, that's
Yes.
a great
There you
idea.
Oh,
Wow, what he wore.
Yes.
Well, you say that about what I drove. I mean, I'll tell you, I've learned a lot about cars being very important to, men. And women love pretty cars, but I mean, we don't want to learn to fix them, really.
I don't want to know that much. I don't want to. The thing is, Pat, my husband Pat, has been working with me on memorizing the lines. He holds the script, and then I say things, and he'll stop me if I say something wrong. And the first time we did it with the very first monologue I had, we finished it, and he went, "Oh, I didn't think it would end like that. Oh,
Oh, no.
oh no!" And every single monologue that my character has is. He felt very much the same way. He laughed, he cried, he enjoyed it very much.
good.
So, although my Pat is kind of an out of the box person, I still think
That's a good way to put it.
I still think men will really enjoy it.
Okay.
I do.
Wow. So when you say that we're going to cry too, that just means stories of heartache and stories of lows.
That's true. And my character of Gingy is the only one that's consistent through the show.
Okay.
My character comes back with stories of her life. Everyone else plays all kinds of different people.
Okay.
They have the hard part.
So it's like you're the narrator? Is that?
Well, in a way, it
Right.
keeps the string of the story going. I guess is what I would say. While everybody else throws in their viewpoints on different things.
Okay.
So,
when do we get into social media? Because when you talked about the 20-something-year-old, it's just fascinating. We didn't grow up with it, ladies. These women have grown up with it. So do we get any perspective that way?
No, not in particular. The interesting thing, it was written, I believe Gingy was also from New York. It's a very
Yes.
East Coast, New York kind of perspective, and
Okay.
including the other characters, yet it's also relatable to me in Cadillac, Michigan, because I've been through the same things.
Exactly.
I
So
see.
that's what's just so amazing about it to me. And some of these little monologues, they might be one paragraph long, and you'll smile, then you'll laugh, then you'll feel kind of the breath sucked out of you as you're so touched by something,
Okay.
and then you'll laugh again within a paragraph. It's amazing. It's definitely just this kind of amazing, fun roller coaster going through this whole play.
when this play was originally created and done on Broadway, it was done with 5 women sitting on stools, the script in front of them, and a microphone.
Oh, boy.
And it was a reader's theater style, but they were all celebrities. And so maybe one week it was this group of celebrities, and the next week they'd swap out a couple more. Somebody couldn't be there to do this performance, so they find somebody else to do the characters that person does. So it was very different from how we're presenting it.
I
but,
see.
But because they were all celebrities, it was sold out every night.
Sure. Well,
And-
Rich, they're celebrities to us.
They are, for sure. Yeah.
But thank you for explaining how it's been done in other parts of the country.
Well, but most groups, other than it was done on Broadway or when it was on tour for a while, are going to be done the way that we're doing it, where it's a little bit more staged. We've all memorized it. So,
I see. Yeah. When they're bringing celebrities on, they might have to hand them a script
Script
this
and
type of
walk
thing.
out.
Yeah. Okay, so I know you're not going to give me details because it's a secret, because we've got to get ready and actually be there. But what's everybody wearing?
Black.
Really?
Yes. Everyone wears black.
Isn't that so? The color comes out of the character, not
Exactly.
Out of the, okay.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And some of the other things that we've added to this is that there will be a kind of a picture booth, a place that will have folks taking pictures with a Polaroid camera, or they would also take your phone and take a picture too. But we're charging $2 to do that, so
Right.
and that will go to Oasis as well.
Nice.
And it has just been the whole concept and the whole deciding what the set should look like and how to keep everything enjoyable to look at without being boring.
Right.
Right.
So
So, you both have quite deep perspectives on people and women, because I know both of you. But did you learn some things about women hearing these stories, new things?
I think I did, sort of from the perspective that I gave earlier about just being around these younger women. Mm-hmm. It's just throughout the entire life of a woman, and so I felt like I learned through that, and I just felt studying somebody else's play like this, I personally learned a lot. I definitely really only do the comedy side. If you're walking out crying for one of mine, I did something really wrong.
You make people cry because they're laughing.
they're laughing so hard. Yeah.
But I did think, wow, it takes things on a much deeper level, though, than I ever have, too. And I just find that very admirable. And I thought maybe someday I'll actually write one where there's, a little more depth to it. So I learned a lot in that way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. How about you, Sally?
Yeah, I told you I identify with my character and her description of the clothes and how they affected her life or married her life, Right. Some of the other monologues that aren't mine, when they start talking about them, all of a sudden my brain goes, oh my God, yes. Oh, that's so true. Oh, I can't believe that. The one about the paper dress,
right.
too. And I did wear a paper dress in the 70s. I have to admit that.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
have photos?
Well, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into why.
But dear.
But they, I can't say that there was anything that came across to me as, really, that happened to you? It was more like, oh, yeah, I thought that way, too.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. How about... So I think that's the way it maybe has affected all of us more.
Yeah.
And the interpretations of everyone are so terrific.
Ooh, I cannot wait. It sounds like we get to see a vulnerable side of a lot of characters, and I think that helps maybe women see it might look like this person's got everything all handled all the time and everything's been perfect, but you really don't know until you've walked a mile in their moccasins or you've heard their story or and I think that could be said for all women. Everybody's got, and men too, everybody's got a story.
My character of Gingy, I've read about Eileen Beckerman, who wrote the original book, and she eventually became the vice president of an ad agency in New York and was a fabulous illustrator and retired at about 60, 65, and that's when she wrote the book. And it came out in 1996, the original book.
You do understand there's a parallel there, too.
Oh, yeah.
I told you, Rich, she's just getting started.
It's interesting because, when the Footlighters make their casting announcements, they always highlight those who are new. And this particular production has fully a quarter of new people who have not performed with the Footlighters before. Jenny Kurt, Barbara Sicoli, and Sherry Spolman, that's a quarter of the cast, and these are all newcomers to the Footlighters. How are they doing?
Yeah, how are they doing?
Oh, they're all fabulous.
They are. They're amazing. It's so fun to see them blossom and just kind of, take notes and do different things and just to see their interpretations of the scenes. They're doing wonderfully.
And for me, it's Barb was in high school with my daughter, Trisha, and they were in drama club together. And I only saw Barb from the back at auditions. And so when we came for our first read-through, I saw her face and I went, I know I recognize that voice. And so she is amazingly talented.
Yes.
Amazingly talented. And I am thrilled to be able to be back with her because I used to do some coaching back in those days. Mm-hmm. And there are people I didn't know at all in the cast.
Right.
So it's very cool.
We're almost out of time. Do you have a last question you want to ask before we get to show dates, show times, and how folks can get tickets, Katie?
You know what? I think we've heard. All I can say is thank you for the energy that you've put into this, because we are ready for it, aren't we, Rich?
It's about time, and I know the Footlighters used social media to unveil their next season. And if you want to follow the Footlighters, a great way to do it is on their Facebook page.
The name of the show is Love, Loss, and What I Wore.
And shall I ask you what the dates are, or do you have them all memorized, pulled up on your phone?
I do have them pulled up.
Fantastic.
Thursday the 15th is our show that will benefit Oasis with part of our proceeds. Those tickets are $50, and that includes heavy appetizers. And we're also doing a clothing drive that night. So we have some wonderful people around town who help us promote the show, and that would be, we have Serendipity, Maxie. Who am I forgetting, Sally?
I can't
Forgetting somebody. I
apologize.
forgot to write those down. But they would be wonderful places to go and get your what I'm going to wear that night, certainly. All of our boutiques around town. We also have shows on the 16th, 17th, and 23rd and 24th at 7 p.m. And just a reminder that our handicapped accessible show is at 2 p.m. on the 24th. And you can get tickets at Brinks.
And there is one that's the matinee on the 24th,
Right.
Saturday at 2.
At 2, yep. And tickets available at Brinks and online, and will also be available at the door if we don't sell out, which is
Entirely
looking
possible.
pretty likely at this point that we may. But
Yeah. That's right.
And our web address online is CadillacFootlighters.com, and Footlighters is spelled not L-I-G-H-T, but L-I-T-E-R-S.
So,
Lighters.
thank you, Sally. You know how we have to end the show like theater people do. Ladies, break a leg.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thanks
I
for
say
having us.
break things.
Break things.
Join us next week for more local chat on Cadillac Unscripted, sponsored by Independent Bank on 107.9 CDY.